Welcome back to this review series of the Toy Story movies before the release of Toy Story 4 this weekend. Today I'm talking about the first sequel, the one that Pixar started work on intending for it to be a 60-minute direct-to-video movie, but they gave it all they had and it made it to the big screen as it deserved. It was the third movie that I ever saw in theaters, coming after Tarzan and Chicken Run. And I still remember very well that evening on Thanksgiving weekend in 1999, the whole family going to the theater stoked. Now, in my opinion, it's very insufficient when the only criticism toward a sequel is that it doesn't need to exist. Because when you get down to it, unless the previous movie ends on a cliffhanger, all sequels don't need to exist. Really think about it, did Toy Story need a follow-up, or 3 follow-ups for that matter? No, it stands alone just fine. The critique of a sequel should not be based on the importance of its existence. What a sequel should do when it is made is stay true to the characters and themes of the original while introducing new elements, as well as expanding on the ideas and world building. Toy Story 2 is all of the above. It takes everything great about the original and goes to infinity and beyond with it. Since my last review, I realized that it may be a little bit more important to give a spoiler warning for these movies than I previously thought, because I actually talked to someone the other day who hasn't seen movies 2 or 3. So if you're that guy, this is your warning. So in this movie, Woody and Buzz Lightyear are the best of friends, having grown to respect each other at the end of the first movie. But when some stitching in Woody's arm rips and Andy decides not to take him to camp, Woody becomes exceedingly concerned about the inevitable day when Andy stops caring about him. Woody ends up in a yard sale trying to save another toy from being given away, and in the process is stolen by a toy store owner named Al, voiced by Wayne Knight. While Buzz leads a rescue mission, Woody is taken to Al's apartment, where he meets a horse toy named Bullseye, a cowgirl named Jessie, voiced by Joan Cusack, and the Prospector, voiced by Kelsey Grammer. Woody learns that the 4 of them together are a valuable collector's set, which Al plans on selling to a toy museum in Tokyo. Woody realizes that this is a chance for him to last forever, but it would mean giving up on Andy. And this is what makes Toy Story 2 such a great sequel. It goes further into what life would be like for a toy. For something that's a fantasy, it comes up with some very believable dilemmas within the scenario of toys being living things. What does a toy do when his owner doesn't care about him anymore? I like, in movies, when a character that we've known for a while is put in a situation where the morals and principles that he's always lived by are challenged. And in this case, it's the pledge that Woody has made to always be there for Andy when he needs him. It's a very good conflict, and it's even understandable when at one point Woody decides that going to the museum would be best for him. Part of what leads to this indefinite decision is the most emotional scene in the movie, when Jessie tells Woody about her past life with her beloved owner that ended with her abandoning her. A flashback scene that's even more heartbreaking with the song When She Loved Me. Apparently, Randy Newman was worried that kids wouldn't be able to sit through that scene, and I admit I didn't care for it much when I was a kid. If I was watching the movie alone, I would fast forward through that part. But as I got older, it grew on me more and more, and it really is an affecting scene, on par with I Will Go Sailing No More in the first movie. Actually, it's sadder because the song is sung by Sarah McLachlan, that voice that always reminds me of those sad puppy eyes staring into my soul. Thank you for the empathy coming from those of you who know what I'm talking about. The movie brings these new dilemmas while acknowledging how characters' past experiences would lead them to say and do things in this movie. Sometimes it leads to humor, like when another Buzz Lightyear gets in the mix, believing of course that he's a real space ranger, prompting the main Buzz to remark, "Tell me I wasn't this deluded." And sometimes it leads to serious moments, like when Buzz uses Woody's words from the last movie against him.
Woody, you're not a collector's item. You're a child's plaything. You are a toy!
For how much longer?
In the visual department, the animation is a fair improvement over the original. And it was already impressive in the original, but this time the humans' movements look a bit more lifelike, and their expressions are enhanced, making this the best of Pixar's animation until Finding Nemo. The most visually dazzling scene is the opening, which takes place inside a Buzz Lightyear video game that Rex is playing. And while I enjoyed that scene when I was a kid, I do have to say now with my more critical eye that it is pretty unnecessary. The only thing it does for the story is establishing Rex's desire to defeat Zurg, which shouldn't need 4 minutes of screen time to do. The rest of the movie is solidly paced, but that first part just felt like an ad for the Buzz Lightyear Starkman show that would air soon after. And I need to talk about the comedy because this movie is a hoot. The jokes come at a near rapid-fire speed, and I can't think of a single one that doesn't hit its mark. You've got a great mix of one-liners.
Well, you should have seen it. There was a record player and a yo-yo. Buzz, I was a yo-yo. Was.
Well-timed slapstick.
Listen to me, listen.
And in-jokes.
And this is the Buzz Lightyear aisle. Back in 1995, short-sighted retailers did not order enough dolls to meet demand.
It's funny because it's true. There's also one gag that gives some insight into Woody. You can see just how great he is at staying in character as an inanimate toy when Al accidentally tears his entire arm off. Woody doesn't even blink. The second the door closes, he screams while defying gravity.
Ah! It's gone!
Not to mention that hilarious Jurassic Park reference. I don't know which would have been better, if I had seen Jurassic Park first and gotten the joke right away, or what really happened. I see Jurassic Park at 13, and when it gets to the part with the rearview mirror, I interject, "Oh, hey, Toy Story 2 parodied that. I get it now." There are even some really small gags thrown in, as subtle as something in a Mel Brooks movie. On a magazine from 1957 with Woody on the cover is a small caption in the corner reading, "Doctors say Americans don't eat enough fat." And I'm guessing that was something that Al took to heart. And they top it all off with Pixar's funniest outtakes, which reveal that apparently Woody was quite the prankster on set. In the end, Toy Story 2 is everything that a sequel to Toy Story should have been. It doubles down on the humor and heart and expands on the world building. I would say that it's one of Pixar's best, but that title never really means much, because there are like 12 Pixar movies that could be considered one of their best. For me, it's somewhere in the top 5. Also, it seems to be a pretty even vote between which of the 3 Toy Story movies so far is the best. I'm among the 1/3 that says Toy Story 2 is the best of the series. But we'll see if that lasts. I'm giving Toy Story 2 a 92%. That's a wrap, thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed this review, and be sure to stick around for my review of Toy Story 3, followed by my review for number 4 once I see it. Like and share, subscribe for more. This is Pop Culture, I'm Alex Pop.